The 805 Focus is brought to you in part by Nonprofit Connect. Nonprofit Connect provides superior leadership tools and resources so nonprofit leaders and board members can make valuable decisions to move their organization forward to a sustainable and vibrant future. More information on services online at nonprofitconnect.org.
Welcome to 805 Focus. I'm Dr. Cinder Sinclair with Nonprofit Connect, and we will be bringing you the latest on your favorite nonprofits. So get ready to be inspired. Our special guest today is Chris Goldblatt, and Chris is the Executive Director of the Reef Project. Thanks for being with us, Chris.
Hi, Cinder. It's wonderful to be back. This is now the third time.
Yeah. Oh, because you always have something interesting to tell us about.
Well, thank you.
You are a busy boy.
Yes, I am. I appreciate that.
Gosh. Now, I remember the last time we talked, there was the fishery project and you were involved in all that. And now we've got the climate change and we've got the new sea cave project that's going on all over. And we have something special in Goleta happening with the kelp and all. So I can hardly wait for you to bring us up to date on what's happening.
Well, thank you very much. It's a big ocean, so it's a big job. You know, the Fish Reef Project, you know, our slogan is helping ocean life thrive. And that's exactly what we do lately through our invention, the sea cave. This is a scale model of it, as you can see here. Mm-hmm. It's a 1-ton unit made of marine concrete designed to last 500 years underwater.
Oh my gosh, wait, let's just say, here's this little old thing,
mm-hmm.
but it's really 1 ton.
Mm-hmm. It's large. It's 6 feet by 4 feet by 3 feet.
Okay.
And it sustains about 500 kilograms or 1,000 pounds of marine life.
And it's designed to last how long?
500 years.
500 years?
Yeah, it's a long time underwater, right? It's quite a legacy, isn't it?
I'd say.
Yeah. And
so you put this thing at the bottom of the ocean.
Mm-hmm. Well, we make what are called biogenic reefs, which means that the reason why we spent 10 years designing the sea cave is so when it's on the seafloor, after the marine life covers it, it's designed to mimic the form and function of what a natural reef would look like and perform like.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had a great recent success in South Carolina where the Department of Natural Resources there deployed some sea caves, and that was just back in July. So I'd like to show you this video we have that shows you what just in 3.5 months, how we can make life out of just kind of underwater desert turning into an oasis in 3.5 months.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. So I think they're going to show that,
mm-hmm.
and we'll just keep talking while they...
Sure, fantastic.
While they show that.
So here we are making the reefs. This is in Santa Barbara.
Look how big that is.
Pulling them off the mold.
Sea cave.
You have to stamp the name in there. This is South Carolina off of Charleston and 70 feet of water back in July, and here it is on the first day. There's not much going on. There's a couple mackerel swimming around. As you can see, the bottom's empty, and 3.5 months later it is absolutely full of life.
3.5 months.
Yeah.
Golly.
Chock-a-block of life, as the British would say.
Yeah.
And inside you have spade fish, and they love going in there for a number of different reasons, because they can go in one side and they can feel protected. They can go out the other side. As you can see, there's barnacles and algae encrusting all over it.
Yes, I can see that.
And there's small snapper in there.
Wow.
And you'll just see year after year. There was a Class 4 hurricane that went over these, and it proved how incredibly stable they are, even in massive surf.
Really?
Yeah. And these can be used to restore and enhance marine life all over the world, which is exactly what we're doing in Africa, in Senegal, in Papua New Guinea, and in Mexico, and South Carolina, and right here at home in Goleta.
In Goleta, oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
And here you can see they're going to swim over to the other one. They spaced them about 15 feet apart. When we make the large reefs, they'll be in groups of 8. And those groups of 8 will hold large amounts of Macrocystis giant kelp and create large kelp beds here in Goleta. As you can see, there's amberjack, and those are called mackerel scad. And then we're motoring on over to the next one. And you can see a couple of dark, ominous shapes over there.
Yes, yes.
And as you can see, there's just not much on the bottom in between the sea caves. This was a beautiful day at sea. The water was just clear top to bottom. These are gray snapper.
Oh.
And they are just absolutely beautiful specimens of gray snapper.
Gosh.
And they like that extra large hole where we trucked these all the way from Santa Barbara, and they went through some tough handling. So we got a crack in one of them, and the legs separated, but the snapper don't seem to mind. And they are just in there seeking refuge. And you can see the small mackerel scad cleaning the parasites off the back of the snapper.
So you make these in Santa Barbara, and then you take them all over the world, really.
That's right. And sometimes we actually will transport the finished article, or we will send our molds and then send our teams and actually build them locally there with local labor and local assets and that kind of thing.
Well, that would be cool,
Yeah.
because then those folks learn how to do it themselves.
They do. It's a great way to establish a deeper appreciation for the resource that way. And here's yet another one. You can see a bunch of small fish, and they're crowding around. They're inside. The sea caves are absolutely just full of life on the inside. That square block was an experiment that the Department of Natural Resources thought they would do to see if a square thing would enhance it.
Oh, how funny.
So we'll see what that looks like in a few months.
Oh, that's interesting. So you say it took you 10 years to develop that.
Yeah, so the Fish Reef Project, right, was founded 10 years ago. I founded it after an incident where we sank at sea, and I decided I wanted to do something great for the sea. After that incident, we survived. There were 5 of us out at sea, and a petroleum barge hit us in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh.
And we were struggling and we were drowning, and I just made this deal.
That if you survived, you would continue to enhance our oceans.
That's right. And right here in Goleta is where we started. And although the donations have been a little bit slow to help realize that project, and ironically, in the developing world, folks have really rallied and made it happen in the developing world. Yeah,
that's curious.
But it's really important that we do it in Goleta, and, and here's why. There is a historic kelp bed that's 1,000 feet wide that goes from El Capitan all the way to Rincon, and it is gone, Cinder. It is gone. And there's a very simple reason. If you remove the variable of El Nino, the reason it's gone is because the small rocks on the bottom that tumble off the hills during the floods like we had in 2017, their destiny is to end up in the mud out there and become the reef structure for the giant kelp to settle on and grow and create the kelp forest. But over time, they wear down because they're sandstone and they get covered with mud. And in 1983, that giant El Nino scoured the bottom and there was just nothing left. Oh gosh. And there's no recharging of that reef system because we build roads, we have houses, we have hedges, we have fences on the hills in Montecito to stop the ingress of those rocks. There's no recharging of the system of reef material. And humans are responsible for stopping that movement of rock. And that's why the sea cave is just the perfect, elegant solution to put it down there and allow this critical habitat to occur for the kelp to land on and grow and become a kelp forest. It's a very simple solution to what is a simple problem, but it's a problem that not many people are aware of. But the kelp forest is like our redwood forest of the ocean. It's our birthright.
Yeah. How in the world did you ever think about this?
I've been in the ocean since I was 6, chasing fish around for my dinner. I have fished and worked all over the world. I have a degree in fisheries from Humboldt. I write books about the ocean.
Oh gosh.
And so, after a while you develop a kind of an intimate relationship with the ocean where you figure out what it needs.
And so Fish Reef Project is a nonprofit, 501c3. You accept financial donations that are tax deductible, right?
Exactly.
So if a person watching this, for example, or they hear about your work and they want to make a financial donation or find out more about what you're doing and where, they can go on your website, and you probably have a donate now button.
We do indeed. And it even gets better than that. So in Goleta, when we make the kelp forest there, it's a way for the community itself to participate in sequestering carbon to fight climate change.
Oh gosh.
Because the kelp forest is a really powerful carbon sink, and it pulls the carbon directly out of the ocean as opposed to the atmosphere, making it a much more valuable thing to the marine life because it buffers what you call ocean acidification by doing that. But it only happens within the kelp forest itself. And if you don't have the kelp forest, you don't have the ability to sequester carbon. It's a way for the whole community to offset its carbon footprint as a whole by participating in this. And the next stage is just a 1-acre study reef with 244 sea caves in the middle of Goleta Bay, so everybody can see how this works. And the cost for that's $1 million, which is a bargain.
That is a bargain.
For that much marine life. We've all worked, my organization, we've worked for 10 years, 40 hours a week with no salaries to make this happen.
No
That's how much we believe in
salaries.
it. Nothing. And a lot of it's been self-financed just to keep it going. So we need the community to step up. We're willing to name the reef after the largest donor. So right now it's called the Goleta Fish Reef or the Goleta Kelp Project. And we can change that. For instance, if your last name is Jones, it would become the Jones Fish Reef or something like that. And you would get a sign on the pier if the county permits it. And it would be a 500-year legacy. And then the step after that, after everybody's comfortable with it, although we have broad-based stakeholder support at this time, from the universities to the NGOs to the agencies, everybody's very supportive of this. The next stage would be 200 acres, which would be 1,000 feet wide by a mile long. And that would constitute about 1/10 of what the historic kelp forest footprint was. And then we can go from there. It's a lifetime project that'll just never end. It'll just keep going until we get our kelp back.
Wow, and this would be in Goleta.
That would be in Goleta. Right now, we're all over the world.
Yes.
Right, but we would like to bring it home where we started. But we need patrons of the community to step up and say, "Count us in."
Gosh, we got to get the word out.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet there are a lot of people that would love to be a part of it, especially now.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about carbon footprints and the climate change and everything, and here you are doing all this work to contribute to that in a powerful way.
Mm-hmm.
We need to let folks know.
Right, they just had the COP26 UN Climate Change Summit.
Yep.
That was over there. Everybody participated in it. Our own administration was over there. Everybody made lots of proclamations going out, 30, 40, 50 years, but we need to get to work on this right now. And this is something that we can do. This is within our control, Senator. We can do this.
I can sense that from you. I think we need to let President Biden know about this.
Okay, Joe, if you're listening, give me a call. Let's do this, buddy.
Gosh, you are absolutely amazing. I've always been impressed with you and your work and your dedication. And this is just astounding.
Thank you very much.
And that video was really very explanatory and visual and all that.
Yeah, and we love, one of the greatest parts of this that really speaks to sort of my inner child and everybody else's inner child is when you put these down on a naked seafloor like that.
Yeah.
Just like, we have projects going down in Mexico, which we've just done. And you go, wow, there's really nothing. That's just really a desert. It's the Sahara, there's really nothing there. And then you come back and you see this cornucopia of life. It never gets old. And it's so thrilling. And nature is so diverse that every time it's something different. You might have abalone settle in one place. These are very good abalone restoration tools. That's a fishery on the coast that has yet to recover because there's no kelp for the abalone to eat. So you have to grow the food source to recover the abalone, which is California's oldest fishery. It's germane to the fisheries of Santa Barbara. It's our historic legacy, and it's really important we get that fishery back. A lot of the people in Santa Barbara love eating our local sustainable seafood. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of hardworking fishermen, but the fish have to have habitat in order to have abundance enough for people to be able to enjoy those resources. So the reef provides that as well.
This is just amazing. So have you thought about or have you done, let's say, field trips for UCSB people or, I don't know, anybody that would be really interested in seeing this to actually go down there and look at it?
Yeah, we've had some of that. We have really good relationships with the Bren School at UCSB. They've been very helpful.
That's perfect.
Yeah, well, it'll be 20 years with a study opportunity for the grad students there to write papers on, even do their postdoc work on what they call anthropomorphic structures in the water, man-made structures in the water, things like that. But I'm most proud of the fact that the Girl Scouts were involved in 2017.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and we made a reef in Lake Kachuma with the Girl Scouts.
Oh, gosh, I love it.
Yeah, so it was a real learning experience for them, very empowering for them.
Oh, that is quite the contribution at Lake Kachuma.
Yeah, well, Lake Kachuma shrinks with the drought.
Right,
And
right, sure.
the fish get stressed when there's no water, and
Uh-huh.
you have to offset that stress through creating habitat for the
Oh,
fish.
gosh.
So they have a place to hide and lay their eggs and things like that.
So here you are doing all this good work all over the place, even Lake Kachuma.
Yeah, exactly.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, yeah. And it takes on different forms in different places. For instance, in Africa, it's more about food security. It's about ocean health, but it's also about food security.
Okay.
And we have something there called the Great African Food Reef.
Wow.
So this is a big picture thing, right? It's the kind of thing where folks like Elon Musk said, I'll give $6 billion to the UN if they can come up with a food system in Africa that's accountable, right? So it's big picture. It's let's go to Mars big picture.
Yeah.
Right. So if you can build reefs around the coasts of Africa, which is exactly what we're doing, starting in Senegal in the west and the country of Djibouti in the east, you can increase food production dramatically because there's no fresh water needed, there's no land needed, and the reefs just take care of themselves. There's no maintenance or husbandry, which is historically why food programs fail. Is there's just too much you have to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So what do you think? Is Musk going to give you $1 bazillion?
Well, I think I'll answer the phone if he calls.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Of course, maybe you could call him.
Yeah, if I had his phone number, I would. So, but it's definitely on par with that kind of big thing.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because there's not a lot of mechanisms that mankind has at their disposal to increase what you call the production capacity of the ocean. Reefs are rare. We think they're everywhere. We think they're ubiquitous because you watch The Little Mermaid or the Discovery Channel and David Attenborough saying, look at the reef and all these things.
Yeah.
But they're rare. They're less than 1% of all of the seafloor.
Oh, man.
If you were to chart the seafloor, the reefs wouldn't even show up. It would just show up as mud, is what it would show up. And reefs are just this little 0.25%. But it's where all the life is. And it's where the ability to make more life exists. So if you can increase the reef structure, again, biogenic reef, meaning you want to mimic the form and function of nature. You don't want to make something so obtuse that it doesn't look natural. You want it to act like nature. But you can allow the opportunity for just a small amount of plankton, the baby plants and animals that would otherwise perish, to settle on these things and grow and become life.
Wow.
So it's a very powerful but simple tool that mankind has at our disposal to really turn the dial in favor of ocean health, to fight climate change, to increase food production.
Gosh, Chris, you are so amazing
Well,
and so
you, Cinder.
Inspiring.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Every time I listen to you, I get re-inspired.
Thank you, Cinder, I appreciate
and
it.
so impressed with all of your work on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, I appreciate
And
that.
thanks for coming on our show today to tell us all about it.
I look forward to coming back when we have the Goleta project in and we can show you that video. I really look forward to that day.
All right, let's do it. All righty, thank you.
Thank you, Cinder.
And thank you for joining us on 805 Focus, and we'll see you next time.